got a new spot to record here. If you suddenly see the background change, it's because I normally record in this parking lot over here, but I just decided to pull off in the grass. I think you'll agree, this is a way prettier spot. If the background suddenly changes, it's because somebody kicked me out of this grassy area. There's a business right over there, but they're closed today, so we should be all right. So today, this video is going to be about how to fit a 35-inch tire into the factory spare location on a Toyota Tacoma. Obviously, this is not a very factory truck. They had a custom flatbed on her. That did aid in fitting the 35-inch tire. I'm going to show you how I got it in there and what it took to make it fit. But I do want to note that if you have a factory bed, I'm pretty sure you could get a 35-inch spare nice and high and tucked up, just like you see here. And I'll talk about that as the video goes on. So we got the factory mechanism here. I feel like this is the optimal way to get the spare out of here. And then it goes into pretty much the factory location. You gotta like push the spare tire down for the way my bed is and slide it in there. And the factory, not all the way in, the factory Toyota crank mechanism is right here on the bed actually. And then we'll just crank that down. All right, so I didn't record it, but there's the tire dropped down. Yeah, it just uses the factory crank mechanism here, and then we'll go on about the changes to the frame of the truck in order to make this happen. Let me get this spare tire out of the way. All right, so let's get up under the truck here, and I'll kind of show you what had to happen. So first off, I know I have some B-roll of it, but there used to be a big X-brace that came from here and shot over to the spring hanger, and vice versa, went from this spring hanger to over there. You can actually see the remnants. So this little part of section is actually the factory X-brace that's here. And I essentially welded these brackets that go up and then they bolt into the flatbed. And I don't know if you could see it that well, but this is an aluminum structure for the bed. And there's a piece of steel here that's layered to it. So it's supplemental to the aluminum. This lower steel piece and the top sheet on top kind of work in tension and compression to strengthen the aluminum frame. And this is obviously steel, this is aluminum, so this is really, really good at dealing with tension and compression in comparison to aluminum. Obviously steel's stronger. But anyways, these are like supplemental components that are, because we removed that X-brace, you need these supplemental pieces in here. And the same thing's here. So there was an X-brace that came off of the spring hanger, and we've got another steel on the lower section here, and you're relying on the top sheet of what's on the bed there to essentially supplement for the X-brace that's now missing from here. One of the big things I had to do is the X-brace actually came around right here. There was a big section that dropped down kind of low, and then it tucked up for the factory tire to recess into it. But that section that was right here was really interfering with the 35. The 35 actually sits a little bit further back. You have to push it back because you're going to hit the axle. If you don't, about 2 inches you have to push it back. But anyways, there was that nub that was right here on the factory X-brace that absolutely could not be there because the tire is right here. So what you had to do was take that structure around to the outside and then bring it up and over the frame rail, and it's actually bolting into the bed on the top side. So it was really just an exercise of clearing all of this space out in order to make it work. I do want to note, however, that you do not need to remove that X-brace. But the reason why I removed the X-brace is because if you didn't remove the X-brace, the tire sat probably, I don't know, 6 inches lower than what I have here. The tire would be like about here. You can't see that. But anyways, try to look up a video. I'm a picture of a 35 underneath the Tacoma. It's just substantially lower than what I was able to do. So for me, it was an absolute must to cut that X-brace out, because this is really an off-road built truck. But yeah, I mean, if you had a factory Tacoma bed on here, obviously mine's completely custom, but I think it would be possible. It would just require some custom fabrication if you wanted to keep your factory bed. You would just need to cut that X-brace out or modify it and make sure the structure stays really tight to your frame rails, or it goes to the outside of the frame rail, and then have some sort of a supplemental X-brace in here underneath your factory bed, and then just bolt your factory crank mechanism up to your whatever supplemental brace you're putting in here that's more high clearance for an X-brace. If there's any companies out there, hey, maybe go build a kit for this. I'm sure there's plenty of people that want to sling 35s up under their Tacoma. I've seen a lot of people not use the factory crank, like they'll go to some weird stuff. This is the best option to me. It works with the tool that you're already gonna have in your truck that works with your jack. Another thing I wanna note too, you can see it here, it's clean right there. When the 35 is coming up, it brushes both of these spring hangers right here. And then when it's sitting in here, it's almost right up against both frame rails. There's no way to get a 37 in here if you were trying to do that. But yeah, another thing too, you've got all this factory wiring up here. I don't remember where that was factory, but all of that stuff has to be pushed over because the tire is like right here when it's there. There's barely any room to get these by. These air lines that I have a 4-tire system on this truck, a 4-tire air system. These air lines, the tire tucks up like this, and the air lines don't get pinched or anything. It works perfectly. And then these just kind of sit on top of the tire. Should probably zip tie these up. Anyways, yeah, that's what's possible. Exhaust, so normally your exhaust would come down right here. That absolutely has to be chopped in order to make it work. There would be another exhaust hanger right here. I don't know if you can see that little nub. That would normally come down like this. That's got to be chopped off to make room for the 35. But yeah, it is 100% possible. You just have to absolutely open up this space. Woo! There's what picks up the spare tire. That just fell down. The other thing you got to do is you'd have to modify your factory hitch. Your factory hitch comes back too far, it would interfere with the 35. Most people go to custom front bumpers anyways, so that wouldn't be an issue. I didn't initially have a 35-inch spare up here, but I had this bumper built, and then I decided I wanted the 35 in that location because I think that is the best spot for a 35-inch tire. So what I had to do is I had to actually notch this bumper out and move the hitch. That's obviously application specific to me, but if you're trying to fit a 35 underneath your own Toyota Tacoma, you would need essentially a rear bumper. You're going to hitch if you want to tow, and then you'd have to, I would remove that X brace. You don't have to. You could probably make it work with that X brace. That 35 is then just going to sit really, really low. I think that's silly to have that 35 sitting low. Most likely, if you're putting 35s in your Tacoma, it's because you like going off-road and you don't want a spare tire hanging down super low underneath your Toyota Tacoma if you're going off-road. Dang it, I spun the spare tire to the dirty side when I brought it up. Anyways, that's that. Can you get a 35 underneath a Toyota Tacoma? Yes, absolutely. You could definitely do it with a factory bed. I know for certain I would be able to make that work. But yeah, this video just came about because somebody on a local Tacoma forum was asking, is it possible? The answer is absolutely yes. I'm going to make another video as well talking about the different places you can put a spare tire on a vehicle. You know, some people put them in the bed, some people do a swing out on the back. That swing out on the back is an absolute no-go for me. But yeah, I'd like to do another video talking about why I think this is the best solution for a spare tire. And another video we're going to make in the future is I want to make the point that you don't actually need a full-size spare tire to go off-road. It's a probably an edge case, right? But and I know I have a full-size spare tire here, but I'd like to maybe one day get a 4Runner, and I'd also one day like to build my own like high aerodynamic off-roader. And you know, we like big tires, and big tires just take up a huge amount of space. So if you want like an aerodynamic off-road vehicle or like overlander type thing, I don't think, when I think about it, when I want to design my own vehicle, I don't think I would carry a full-size spare tire. I think I would carry a slightly smaller one. So you'd have like 35s all the way around this aerodynamic off-roader, and then maybe do like a 31 as your spare tire. Pretty crazy. So yeah, those two videos will be coming. You know what to do if you want to see them. The reason why I'm walking around the freaking truck is because there's freaking mosquitoes out here, and it's actually about to rain, it appears. But I was going to record one of those two videos right now, but we'll do that another time. Thanks for watching. Plumes are removed from the X there. I'll mark some lines on this guy and then get that thing out of there. Well, it's moving.